So just how corrupt is your church's pastor? What can you do about it? And today on Unscripted, you'll find out why my 7th grade teacher rejected my art project, tossed it aside. That's on Unscripted today. I know some of you are sitting on the internet scrolling, looking for something interesting to watch. And some of you are actually thinking, if only there was something that was a little less scripted out there. Well, you've landed on the right show. This is Unscripted from the good people at the Adventist Review. I'm Shawn Boonstra, and
this is Jonathan. Hi.
Jonathan. No last name from Jonathan because the sheriff's looking for him right now.
True. And I'm on the run.
Yeah, he's in the building looking for Jonathan, and we can't say his last name out loud in case he goes past the control room.
Really, the reality is that most people mess up my last name. They add an S in the end for some reason.
Walters?
Yeah. So.
But it's not actually a W, is it?
It is a W.
It is, but it's a European W. It's a Germanic W. It's a V.
Walter, that's right.
So, yeah, so that's why. Oh, and the TH is Walter.
We don't have the TH in Walter.
You don't have the TH in Walter?
No.
Okay, so my dad couldn't never say TH, but they can. They just can't say it where we need it.
Correct.
Yeah. And so when it comes to the name of God, people in America is like Yahweh when they're trying to pronounce the Tetragrammaton. Tetragrammaton, in case you're curious, the 4-letter name of God, we transliterate it as YHWH, but because I come from Old Germanic stock, it's a V. It's Yahweh.
Yahweh, that's
right? Yeah. And really, do your history. The W didn't exist until British people needed it many, many years later. I think that's true, isn't it? The W's a late, it's a W.
This is a fact that only Shawn would know.
Well, aren't you a linguistic nerd?
I mean, yes, but I didn't know that one.
All right, I think, okay, look it up, leave it in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think, the W is an imposter. And it's it's a W, right?
That's true.
Like, how do you even pronounce that? The Germanic peoples have this down. It's V, and that's the end of that discussion.
Amen to that.
We're just right about it. So we're talking today, if this content we're going to talk about all available online at AdventistReview.org. Some of you are watching this because you got word in our newsletter that there's new content to look at. There is every week. And we're going to take a look at a little bit, explore some of the topics that the Adventist Review is talking about. And I think, Jonathan, my favorite, you picked this, is let's talk about this piece. And, I see why you wanted to talk about it. Jonathan wrote it. Okay, Jonathan, yeah. Let's talk about this. It's the best piece ever done for the Adventist Review, right?
Well, that is probably debatable.
In the top 10%. I'm going to give it that. No, you did do a nice job of this. Jonathan Walter, Shopping for a Pastor. Well, that's a subtitle here. Is your pastor corrupt? Is this an autobiography?
Probably. Aren't we all?
Okay. What moved you to write this one? Because I do enjoy your writing when you write, and you write quite a bit. You write clearly, you write well, and most importantly, you write biblically and godly. This one, though, on pastorhood, what moved you to put this to print?
Yeah, I mean, we had an emphasis this May on stewardship.
Right.
So automatically, when it comes to stewardship, we think of the Book of Malachi.
Yeah.
And I love the Book of Malachi. It's a fascinating, story, a fascinating book in which God, calls out the corruption of the priesthood.
Right. That's right.
And at the same time, he calls his people to give faithfully to the priesthood. So it's just like, how does this work together? And so I explore a little bit of that in this article, applying it to today's church.
You explore it really well. I'd encourage you need to read this. We're not going to read it to you. This is not reading theater, although I think a little later in the show, we might have a little bit of reading theater. You want to hang in for that. And I don't want to, but there's a number of things I want to explore. We're both imports to the United States. I'm a closer import. I actually came, it's not that far from Canada. We're like the little brother lives up north. Canada is America's hat. That's what we are. We're just America's hat. But, okay, Canada, that was a joke. Don't get upset, but America's hat. But I did find this practice strange as well. You came from Europe. In the United States, you lead. It is common for a conference to let a local church in need of a pastor interview the candidate.
Yeah, that's right. So when you either when you start in a conference or they want to move you, they will have you interview with your potential future church. Which I grew up as a pastor's kid, so we were just, every 6 to 8 years, the conference said, okay, now you're moving to this and that city, and that was the end of it. There was no discussion. You couldn't, say no. And here in the United States, they say, well, let's see if this works. Let's have an interview with the local church, and you meet all the elders, and they kind of grill you and see who you are, and they want to see if it's a good fit.
Yeah, I actually, when I was leaving, I left It Is Written International for a health scare, and it was a bad year. But then when I came back, I contemplated. One church was interested, and I went to an interview. I thought, this is odd, and they're asking questions. And part of it is healthy, is it a match? Because sometimes you get a pastor that's just not going to match with the culture and that kind of stuff. So I think there's a healthy aspect to it, but I think there's also an unhealthy aspect.
Yeah, I mean,
because what you want is not always what you need.
Right. There's often, and this is certainly true now in this day and age where everyone has been exposed, through TV and social media and internet to all these like high-profile, excellent-speaking, pastors and ministers, and so there's often an expectation towards, pastors that is so high that it's hard to, to live up to, or to fill these kind of things that people may expect that they want from a pastor. I'm not saying this is always the case, but this can happen and has happened.
Yeah, I jotted that in the margin of your article here. I wanted to ask you, how much do you think, and this is another part of American...
I mean, it's really your fault. You're a famous speaker, and so really. Because of you, all of us pastors are like, well, are you like Shawn Boonstra?
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan.
I'm kidding.
That's not true. At all.
Shawn's not that great of a speaker.
No, it's actually pretty terrible. I've heard me. Have you ever watched yourself preach?
Oh, I can't handle it.
I can't either.
No.
I've never watched a single episode of any TV show I've made. I will watch 10 seconds to make sure it's the right episode going to air that week.
Yes.
And that's it. It's like, oh, and here's why, folks. Here's what you should know. And we're getting off track here a little bit. But have you ever sat down with your friends and listened to a recording of your voice? Let's go just recording first. And you go, that doesn't sound like me. And all your friends go, that sounds exactly like you. Who do you think's right? It's your friends.
That's
you
terrible.
Don't hear your own voice accurately, nor do you see yourself accurately.
Yeah.
You look at yourself in a mirror, and that is not a true representation of what you look like. It's reversed. So I will watch a video, and it's like, I can't deny it. I'm a dork. Look at that. If you're living overseas, dork is, well, you can Google it. I'm such a dork, and it's the truth, so it's painful. Here's what I want to ask you, though. I'm reading this, and I'm asking, as churches are interviewing pastors, it's an American custom, and people are getting used to each other, they're in a pastoral search. How much do you think the entertainment culture in America has affected our processes in the church? Do you think that, because I don't know about you, but moving to America, I found church is a little more entertainment-based than I'm used to. Or at least it's not based on entertainment, but that attitude is there.
It's part of the culture, I think, in the West, that things have to be, smooth and fun and just have a certain feel. And now that every church uses live streaming, you kind of want the pastor to deliver something that can be published online and make the video good, or even through social media. There are expectations, and those are, maybe to some degree valid, maybe not us necessarily, because preaching is really not the number one concern, I think, for a pastor. It's very important, but it's not everything.
No.
But because of these high standards, some pastors may struggle. But in the Book of Malachi, what I found so fascinating is you have all this corruption. I mean, preaching is not the problem at all. God is calling out the corruption of the priesthood, and he's saying, he uses really strong language. I'm not even sure if we can say it on TV.
Well, it's in the Bible, though.
It's in the Bible.
And some English translations have cleaned it up.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's Malachi 2, verse 3. Behold, I will rebuke your descendants and spread refuse on your face. I can assure you that word, it's paresh. You can go Google that, paresh. It's not refuse like the stuff in your garbage bin. It's more like what's in the horse barn.
Yes, it's pretty rough.
It's rough.
But God is saying, he's calling out the corruption of the priesthood, and he is calling out the unfaithfulness and the brokenness and their need for revival and reformation and repentance. And he's also calling out the people of Israel. But some of the corruption from the people may also be related to the unfaithfulness of the priesthood. And in the midst of all of this, he says, listen, not only return to me, the Messiah is going to come. He will purify you people. And if you want to remain, he's calling you to faithfulness. and he's empowering us for faithfulness, and he's saying, be faithful despite the corruption. Be faithful despite what you may think of your pastor or your church administrator. What matters is your faithfulness to God. And one way to show that faithfulness is your stewardship, right? And this is, return of tithes and offerings, but it's more than that, really. It's the willingness to give your time, your talents to God's work. No matter what the pastor or whoever does, your calling is to be faithful to God.
Now, it's interesting because that's really kind of the big theme for the Adventist Review in May. Corruption in the church, punishing the church. There's a graphic somewhere in this month's edition that actually shows a bomb and an offering plate. People, and I know we're going to unpack that a little bit on several shows, but in this case, here's what I find fascinating in the Malachi thing, and you touch on it, and I think it's worth your time to explore this. Read the article, read the scriptures, and ask yourself some really potent questions. At the end of the day, we are not entitled by God to say, well, the pastor's corrupt, I'm not going to be faithful, I'm not helping in church anymore, I'm not giving my tithes and offerings. Right. And what I find curious, and I think it's Testimonies Volume 9, I want to say page 248, 249, somewhere in that. You can just read the whole book. You'll get to the right article, where God essentially says this, look, I will deal with corruption if it's there. Right. If it's there, I will deal with corruption. But it doesn't give you a license to be unfaithful as well. Correct. And they're speaking about the tithe. You do not have the right to withhold it.
And this is the time we're living in. Is in this day and age, you are called by culture to use your influence, your power, your money, your time as wielding it as a weapon. And so, if I don't like you, I'm not going to give this to whatever cause you stand for. And so it is. God is calling us to no, don't let. Whether it's the pastor or another church member or a leader, don't let whatever you think about them or whatever may be true about them influence your faithfulness to God and the mission that you have been called to do. And so do not withhold your faithfulness just because of someone else's corruption or mistakes.
Bingo. It is God's church. It's not mine. Yeah. It's not yours. The tithe, too. That is God's money. It was never mine. As a matter of fact, if I understand tithing and offerings correctly, everything I own belongs to God. It's all His.
It's all His.
And He's asking me to put 10% on the table for His work. That's it. That's all. And I have no right. It's not my decision where that goes. It was never mine to begin with. So you're my pastor. You're my corrupt pastor. I don't like Jonathan Walter.
Walters.
Throw that in there. Yeah, Walters. And I don't like you, so I'm going to withhold my tithe. And God's like, it's not Jonathan's tithe. It's not Shawn's tithe. It doesn't belong to you. It's holy. It's mine. Yeah. And God will judge you for your corruption at that point because it's corrupt to hold that.
That's right.
He'll judge you for your corruption every bit as much as if he's now, what if you're wrong, though? What if the pastor appears to be corrupt? I mean, I've often thought about this. I don't like that guy. He's corrupt. How do you know?
I mean,
how do you know he's corrupt? And what do you do? Let's say it's real. And I know Shane Anderson did a cover article. That's not our topic today. I want to really dig into what you said. And I wanted to ask this. After reading this, I wanted to ask you, okay, let's say it's true. Let's say the pastor is selling church assets because he thinks nobody's going to notice. Oh, I'll just sell this old projector and I'll pocket the cash. Something like that. It's hypothetical. Nobody is doing that. Jonathan did not sell any assets.
I really hope no one's doing that.
But things happen. People are humans. The Bible, if there's one thing that reminds me the Bible's not a work of propaganda, it's how honest it is about God's own people. It just, here's what happened.
Yes.
It does happen. So it happened. How does Jonathan Walter, not the pastor, but the church member, approach that? What are you going to do? Where are you going to take that?
Exactly. I mean, first of all, in this day and age, the temptation is there, well, let's expose, let's trample, let's make it public, let's make a big drama out of this. And that is where, that's kind of how we are being programmed by culture to do that. But Jesus gives us a different way, of course. We all know Matthew 18 says, you go and talk to that person privately, and if the person acknowledges, repents, makes things right, great, you have won them, right? If that's not possible, go to the elders, bring a few more in. But you start small and you grow the circle. We don't want to jump to the the massive public arena, because that's only going to harm God's name in the end. So it is important to follow biblical counsel as Jesus lays it out.
You raise an important point. The leverage of social media, and we are guilty of it. Adventists do it. I wish we didn't, but we're human, and we live in the same culture as everybody else, the tech culture. But there is this instinct. If I don't get what I want today, I will shame the church. I will leverage social media and public shame. We use Twitter and Instagram and TikTok like public stockades, like in the old day. We're going to put you in the stocks in the town square and teach you a lesson. It's wrong, isn't it?
Yeah. And then, I mean, in the church, there's often we see this happening through other media, where then articles get written or videos produced that claim to expose something, and having sitting on the inside of some of places where maybe people are accused or things happen, and knowing what the real story is, and then seeing what is portrayed and seeing lies being portrayed, it's very broken and painful to watch, because it cannot be really properly addressed now, because people will not believe or whatever it is. So it's important to follow biblical counsel and not just to go the drama route and for a quick fix or a quick
two scriptures come to mind.
Yeah.
That give me God's attitude on this whole thing. Number one, Joshua and the angel.
Yes.
And when Joshua, when the devil shows up, Satan shows up and says, "This man is filthy," every word he's saying is true. Joshua is a sinner. He is filthy. God's attitude is, "Hey, shh, I'm covering him."
Exactly.
I'm covering him. He's not interested in rehearsing everything that's wrong.
Yeah.
Big surprise, we're sinners. Why would you rehearse people's sins to the point where they may never be able to recover?
Yeah, exactly.
The other one is Michael, the archangel, in Jude, durst not bring, I'm quoting Old King James, durst not bring a railing accusation against the devil. Does the devil not have dirt you could expose? But he doesn't even go that route, and it would all be legitimate.
Yeah.
It would all be, and he doesn't do it. Why do we do it? So yeah.
That's
all right.
true.
We could go on for hours because you're so corrupt. There's so many stories
So
we
much
could talk
to unfold,
about. Yeah. You brought to my attention out of the review this time, mercy above enemies' lines. This is Cliff's Edge. Hey, Cliff Goldstein, people are still reading your stuff. I don't know why, but they are.
Yeah.
Cliff's a good friend. I'm just kidding. What was it about this one that got your attention?
It's a powerful story. I see that thing with the graphic back there. It's during World War II, the Brits are bombing Germany. The Germans are fighting back, and the Brits are they're getting hammered, and they've lost half their fleet of planes. And here's this plane. It's shot up. It's barely flying. There's, I think, one or two crew members are dead, and they're all injured.
I think tail gunner's dead in the plane.
Yeah, and they're trying to just make it out of German airspace, which is already like an attempt that is futile. And then, out of nowhere, this German plane shows up, and they're like, "This is it. This is it." But the German plane doesn't shoot them down, and it's a long story short, but he guides the British plane into safety, risking his own life, because if you do it, you're a traitor, and that was it. This is in 40 something, and the British guy, his name is Charlie Brown, interesting name.
Yep.
And then you have
should have been Snoopy. all flying the doghouse. Okay, but Charlie.
But he and his colleagues never forgot about this, right? Of course, you literally, this is a miracle. Your life is saved, and they live many more decades. And in the 80s, he's like, I want to find out who was this guy. And so he tries to, this is before the internet, this is really difficult.
This is the German guy looking for...
this is the British guy looking for the German guy.
Okay.
And he puts an ad in I think some kind of veteran magazine or something, and he tries to find him. And lo and behold, he gets a response by Franz Stigler, who at that point, I think, had moved to Canada.
Yeah, living in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Yes.
And BC. Yeah.
And they connect, and they find out, yes, those are truly the ones. And it's a powerful story of, enemies becoming friends. They meet up in person. They meet the other guys who were in the plane, and they're all in tears because, like, man, you saved our lives. He said, when I saw you guys, I felt it would have been murder to just, you guys were all shot up. Like, it would have just been not a fair fight. And so he did not kill them. And And they said, hey, you gave us a second chance. We have generations that are alive because of what you did for us, or what you didn't do, rather.
Yeah.
And so Cliff, brings the story and says, that, and shows that, first of all, the lessons are, there are numerous ways to illustrate the story, but he's saying that, Christ died for us so that we have a second chance. He has every right to destroy us.
That's right.
But he doesn't. And to ponder upon that, and how does this affect me, in my relationships to other people? Cliff brings up a friend who turned to become anti-Semitic and denying the Holocaust.
Right.
He said, and I'm supposed to love this enemy of mine, the way Jesus loved Judas, God loves us. It's just a powerful human story that kind of gives us a glimpse of God's love for us.
I want people to go and read this because it is powerful, but there's one line in there I actually highlighted.
Yes.
And I think he's quoting Randy Roberts from Loma Linda. Real Christianity, he said, was it, loving Jesus is easy because Jesus is lovable. Real Christianity, he said, is loving Judas. What does it mean, though? I've struggled with people. It's like, but this guy murdered my child. I can't like, and is it the same thing? Is liking the same as loving?
I was telling my wife yesterday, because there was just a court case that was closed by some FedEx driver who killed a 7-year-old girl.
Yeah, he kidnaps her and kills her.
And I told my wife, because now that I have children, it's like I cannot even imagine what the parents must be going through. And when when I hear of fathers trying to take justice into their own hand, I fully get it. I'm like,
oh yeah, I hear those stories where they catch the perpetrator and the father kills them.
Yeah.
And my human nature says, good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then I also I've seen other cases where fathers or grandfathers will forgive the person who did this to their own child. Horrific crimes to their children. And it's, because they are Christian, they do that. And that is something that it's supernatural. I don't think I have that within me. It literally, God has to give me a love for my enemies. I do not have it naturally, which is, really comes down to surrender to God. Like, God, make it possible for me to love.
Hey, you're reminding me, it's a slightly different scenario, but it's a similar thought. One time somebody asked Charles Spurgeon, hey, could you go to the stake? And he goes, no. And of course we want a great preacher to say, well, yeah, I could go to the stake.
Right.
And he said, but if that moment came, I'm pretty sure God would make it possible.
Exactly.
And I think that might apply here. But let's say somebody is horribly abusive. They're not changing. Can you forgive them without letting them back into your life? Is that a possibility?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe in boundaries. I believe it's healthy. I do believe we should always seek, redemptive, have a redemptive attitude. And of course we want ideally to have that great reunion that we will have in heaven already here on earth to bring harmony into relationships, but sometimes it's not possible, right? And especially if the person isn't changing, if the person is very difficult and abusive, you do not have to stay and let them destroy you. You can draw a line, and that is an act of love too, because it teaches them that there are consequences to actions.
Right.
And
this is a big one, because I actually hear congregations say, but we've forgiven this guy, we need to let him come back into the church. But he hasn't changed, he's still abusive, he's still harmful. And that's not our topic, but sometimes it's literal abuse down in the children's department or something. Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to accommodate what they do. And if you've got someone abusive in your life, you can forgive them, release them from responsibility, let go of it, quit letting them live rent-free in your head, agonizing over it. You can forgive them, but it doesn't mean you've got to be friends.
Yeah,
it doesn't. It's not the same thing. All right. Yeah. Art. We only have a couple minutes left, and I know you love art. And there is an art feature in the review, and I can't remember if we've ever talked about that before, but why? Why art?
I did mention that we, I think a couple weeks ago, that at the review, we're trying to create a space for the arts and for Adventist artists and their work to be seen, but also to be utilized for mission. And so on the screen, you see some of the pieces that we've had that have been submitted and that we have published. And it's amazing to see the variety that's out there. It's
Now,
just
you're
very
not
beautiful.
just talking visual art, right?
Correct. This is just visual right here. We have also music that is published. But we even published new songs that can be sung by congregations, which is, I love that. Sometimes we had someone submit a poem, and then someone said, "Hey, let me create music for that poem." And
So
then,
they saw the poem
Yeah.
and then later put it to.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of our favorite hymns were done that
Yeah,
way.
exactly.
Either the poem done
Yeah.
first, or any favorites that have come around. What is it that you love to see happen?
Yeah, no, I think art is a powerful way to glorify God, because it is excellence, it is beauty, it is truth, all combined to the glory of God. This this May we published two poems, and I want to read to you.
We're going to have reading theater now. I should have brought a bubble pipe and a smoking jacket.
Right.
Bubble pipe.
Yes.
But all right.
This one is, I'm just going to quote, because we don't have time for the whole poem, by Madison Wilcox. She did something interesting. She paraphrases Psalms. And so this is a paraphrase of Psalm 126, and I'm reading one section. And she says here, "We hope our joy will one day fill the earth. We hope someone will see it from afar and say, only God could make a man laugh like that. Only God could raise up joy like that out of a sorrow like this. Oh, we are glad." So it's just a little glimpse of Psalm 126 that she paraphrased.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Into modern language, into more poetic. And there's another one by Alexander.
And people can find this right now.
Right now online, and even in print.
At AdventistReview.org.
That's right. And this one is called "What Can I Offer?" And it's by Alexander Molea. And it's more towards stewardship, which is what we discussed.
A stewardship poem.
Yeah. He says, "What can I offer to the one who owns everything? What can I give to the one who sustains the universe? He has already given his all for me. What then can I do for him? Material things hold no value before him. The kingdoms of this world are but shadows in his presence." I love that. Shadows.
Oh, wow.
"Nothing can equal the infinite price he paid for my soul." Poetry can, and people who are wordsmiths, they can in a way communicate powerful, deep truths and realities in short, beautiful ways. And this is, I think, the power of art, which as a church, I feel like we should utilize more. So like if there are artists in your local church, encourage them, to use it for Jesus, and submit to the Adventist Review.
Yeah, submit it to the Adventist Review. And actually, if somebody wanted to do that, AdventistReview.org.
Yeah, just go there or email us at art@AdventistReview.org.
Art@AdventistReview.org. All right, I have some crayon drawings I've done.
Perfect.
They're going to be brilliant, and I never had that gift. 7th grade, my teacher actually gave my art project back saying, "This is morose," because I love dark colors. I like everything was dark and gloomy. It's like, get out of here with that stuff.
That hasn't changed. I'm kidding.
No. Well, I do love art. I think art is a powerful argument against evolutionary theory. There is no survival advantage to finding pretty things. Music, to me, like what tribe of monkeys decided that they could sing tones in sequence and escape the tiger better? Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Art, AdventistReview.org. And if you haven't clicked the subscribe button, it's time. It is time to click that thing and share this with a friend. Get them hooked on the Adventist Review. You want to find out what's going on in the church? Come to the church itself. Come and explore this. Thanks for joining us this week. I'm Shawn Boonstra, and
I'm Jonathan Walter.
And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us today for Unscripted. We invite you to check out all the other offerings from the Adventist Review online 24 hours a day at AdventistReview.org.